everybody, Laura Grisamore here with artist Dawn Rossbach. Welcome to our installment 3 for summer 2021 featured artists at Studio 176. I'm going to let Dawn tell us a little bit about herself and her work she has on the back wall through the month of August, Polar Opposites. So go ahead and tell us a little bit about yourself, Dawn, and your current work you have here.
Thank you, Laura. Hi, I'm Dawn Rossbach, one of the co-owners here of Studio 176, and the work I have behind me is called Polar Opposites. It was actually 2 bodies of work that I created kind of at the same time. One was the abstract landscapes, which were kind of a way to keep me kind of balanced and calm. And then the other ones, which are silent screams, are a way to release all the kind of anxiety and anger everybody was feeling and emotions there. So that's kind of in a nutshell what that is behind me. And all of the work was produced from the beginning of June, so my arm is sore.
Can you tell us a little bit about the medium and then also about the interactive components?
Sure. So the abstract landscapes are oil on canvas. I started working with that last year again. I took a class through MCAD, and it was actually online. So it was really interesting to see how that was taught, but it worked out really well. So I started oil painting again, and I really like the medium, the way that the colors are just so rich, and the medium flows really nice on certain surfaces. You know, if you got a finer canvas or on wood. And the silent screams are more about, they're a mixed media work, and they are actually drawings that I used from when I was in college, my drawing classes, and I had no purpose for them. I wasn't planning on selling them, so most of them were just kind of studies, but the paper was really nice. It was really heavy and supportive. So I gessoed over those, and then I started putting on paint, didn't like what was happening there, and so I used a technique I've used before where I actually wash it off after it's partially dry. So that became really chaotic, and so I started trying to organize it, and I kind of, as I was doing that, it's really reflective of how our world is today with the really chaos, you know, but then I'm trying to organize it just like people, you know, out of the pandemic. We're trying to get back to pre-COVID, pre-pandemic days, you know, and get things normal again. So, but then the one, this one in the middle here, I don't know if you can see that on the film or not, but anyway, that one was the first one I did, and all of a sudden this large mouth started appearing in these eyes, and so I said it looks like it's screaming. So then the acetate that houses, so the acetate, these were some things I had laying around, and I said, what can I do with these? And so I started writing things that I was thinking about, and then asking other people for their input on a silent scream that they might want to, they would really like to scream out, but it was too much of a risk that they could lose their job, they could lose family, friends, or just even their place in the community. And I had a bunch of little Velcro tabs, and so people started sending me these, and so they became interchangeable. So I have, I don't know, 30, 35, 40 of these that people sent me, and they're pretty powerful. Some of them are a little bit cryptic, but some of them are really powerful and just kind of blurting it right out there. So, and I kept that anonymous, so people can still send these to me. And then you can interchange them with any one of them. So mixed media work, so it's acrylic paint, cold wax, acetate, Sharpie marker, a little bit of something that's like an oil pastel, but it's a little bit different. I'm not sure what the name of that material is. And then some sumi ink, so is what those are made out of.
In general, what are things that inspire you and your work, and what are some of the influences?
Oh, influences. You know, a lot of influences. I'll have to think about that for a little bit, but there's several artists that I really like. Jim Downing, Francis Bacon, some of them that were a little bit more popular, maybe in the late '60s, '70s, and stuff like that. But their body of work, some of them are still creating artwork and stuff. But inspiration, a lot of times, it comes from conversations that I have. As an art teacher, a retired art teacher, so many times, working with students, you suggest things or something and instantly would pop in a brand new idea just from a conversation, or being out with friends and, we're yucking it up or whatever, and all of a sudden you just go, oh, that would make a great artwork, So most of them, I think, now come from conversations, Some of it is the process of either learning something new, like I'd mentioned before, the oil painting. While wasn't totally new to me, I hadn't worked with it for a while, and I had never done the old master's technique of an underpainting with grisaille, which is kind of a black and white painting first, and then you put thin layers of color over that image. So sometimes it's that and just saying, oh, I want to know how to do that, So then it's, the process comes first, the subject matter is second. Sometimes, they go hand in hand, like I'll try this, or this will be a great idea, I'll try it with this new process, So a lot of my work is just diving in and playing. A lot of it is never ever planned. Except for maybe with block printing. That I have to plan out because you have to transfer it to the block if you want the image. You really got to check that before you get to the carving of a block. But.
Oh, very cool. And you were speaking a little bit to your creative process and answering something that we and the viewers are very interested in is what is your creative process? What is your studio process? And when do you know your work is done? And comment on some of that. So is there anything you'd like to add?
With painting, I think it's a little bit harder to know when you're done, because I think you can always see a flaw, especially if you're doing something realistic. So the creative process is, of course, getting the idea. If I have, if I want to paint a particular subject, or like I said, I want to try something new. So they kind of go hand in hand, and I'll just dive in, and there's plenty of mistakes along the way. I mean, so either I wipe it all back down, or I build it up again, or sometimes it gets tossed. I've been known to burn one or two pieces, so and someday we're gonna have a big bonfire. That's part of it, and then it's sometimes I have to step away from it for a couple of weeks. Maybe it's a couple of hours, maybe it's a couple of days, just depending on how much time I've been putting in it, because I need fresh eyes on it. Sometimes I'll have other people look at it, whether it's another artist friend or just a photo that I send off to somebody else and say, hey, what do you think? And get feedback from that, and that's always pretty important to my process, because if I don't do that, what happens a lot of times is all of a sudden it's up on the wall and I go, oh, shoot, kind of thing. So, and then as far as when it's finished, I think even some of these here, I feel like I could go back in and add more layers to it, and a couple of them are definitely done. I think it just is, sometimes the art just kind of speaks back at you and says, hey, I'm good right here, so, or if it's something that you need to get out there right away, then you just call it done, or, on a deadline. But
just to go back to process, this is going to be your actual process.
Yes.
When you talked about underlayment of the black and white.
Oh, right.
What does that do when you underlay the black and white to the
What it's
oil
doing is it's allowing you to be able to decipher the values,
okay.
For what it really is. So those lights and darks, to be able to build those contrasts so that you can make something look much more three-dimensional, for one.
Okay.
And so it just builds that foundation.
So a trick in photography is you take a black and white image or something,
Okay.
and you take the color image, and to add more dynamic range, you overlay a black and white. which then brings out a lot of more dynamic range in the image. It brings out the lights and it brings out the tones. And you just do it lightly, but it just adds that. I'm sure you've seen images where they almost look three-dimensional, you know, and that's how you kind of get that effect. But I thought maybe it's the same effect.
I bet it is kind of the same effect because the oil, especially oil paint, is quite translucent when you put it on there, unless you're adding white into it.
Right.
You know? But you can still get very thin layers. It took, I mean, like that one back there's got 50, 60 layers on it.
Right.
You know, and you still can't tell. You know.
Yeah.
So
why art, Dawn? Why art? When did you realize that you were an artist, or wanting to go into teaching, or just why art?
I'll try to do the Reader's Digest condensed version, if even people even know what that is anymore. So as a kid, I drew. I mean, and the oldest drawing I have in my possession was when I was in first grade, and it's the funeral of President Kennedy. So the little kids are, you know, got the tears, and Jackie's got the tears, and it's the draped casket, you know, and so it's just a little drawing about this big. But, and then in high school I took classes and stuff, and then after that it was kind of like I still dabbled in it, you know, and was pretty decent at it. And then when my daughter came into the world, I had to revamp my, you know, career choice. So I decided to go back to school and become a teacher, but it wasn't art necessarily. So anyway, long story short, I did go into art and took the chance of, you know, getting a job as an art teacher, and I did. And then, but then it was probably, 5-6 years into it, maybe even a little bit more, and I'm teaching art, and I'm going, you know, this is really crazy that I'm teaching art, and I was not feeling very fulfilled. You know, they got, you know, an hour a day, and I said to them, I'd kill for an hour a day, you know, to spend on just art. And I took this trip to Europe with a school group from another school and saw all this amazing stuff and came back, and I was just completely inspired, and I kind of flipped the switch right then and there and said, you know what, I'm gonna seek out other artists, you know, other people. I got to find my people. And then I started, you know, kind of creating on my own. And I think just the last couple of years, though, I think is where it's really started to go full force. You know, so it's taken a long journey to get here. You know, it's not that I haven't been doing it all along. It's kind of like, I think I solidified it with myself. Yeah.
So I know you've been working intensely on the series Polar Opposites, 2 different bodies of work. So I don't know if you have an answer for this next question, but what's next? Do you, you know, have anything kind of brewing, or?
You know, I think I really like the silent screams. So I think I might continue those, but I think I'm going to maybe see if I can make them a little bit smaller. You know, so, I mean, those are big pieces. You know, they're 20 by 30. You know, by the time that you frame them, it's going to take up some serious real estate, you know, on people's walls. Although I think they would look amazing framed. I'm just not really sure how framed. I don't know if under glass would be okay, but if they were under glass, then you could put like a little Velcro tab and, you know, or even use an Expo marker, you know, and people could just erase it, and, you know, so I think that would be really fun. But I think you know, maybe about half the size, you know, might be kind of fun, or maybe even kind of even more squarish, you know, and downsize them, you know, like 16 by 16 or something, and see what happens there. But they're fun, you know, they were just fun to create, and a good response to them. So I think that's where I'm going to go next, but you know, I don't know, I might need to do a little bit of printmaking again, so we'll see.
And the last question, one of my favorite questions. Oh, you know it's coming. If you had a superpower, what would it be? Or perhaps you already have one. What is your superpower?
Oh, I don't think I have a superpower. Well, no, I wasn't ready for this question.
Oh, that's okay.
You know, after reading the silent screams that people sent to me and knowing that they trusted me with that to keep it anonymous, it's kind of like, wouldn't it be cool if you could fix that for them? You know, but I don't know, that would be kind of a cool superpower, but all you can do is probably just listen to them and, you know, so cape with big ears.
I love that. Whatever the superpower is, also will have a cape with big ears.
Yeah.
Oh, fun.
Yep.
Well, do you have any
No.
other words of encouragement or
Oh.
just like words of wisdom for other aspiring artists or just other peer artists, or any messages you'd like to convey?
You know, we get, you know, stop on by. We have so many conversations in here with people, and especially like a lot of younger people come in, and you know, they might come in with their parents. They might be like, you know, high school kids or something, or early in their college, you know, career, and they come in, you know, just because they love art, and just kind of let people know that, you know, if that's behind you and that's what you want to do, you know, carve the time out and start now. You know, don't wait as long or be intimidated by other people, you know, and thinking that I'll never be able to do what they can do, because your slice is out there. So just go find it.
All right. Well, thank you everyone for tuning in, and thank you so much, Dawn Rossbach.
Oh, you're welcome.
This body of work is incredible. It's evocative. It's moving. It's just amazing. So if you do have a chance to come in the month of August, please, I would totally encourage you to do so. It's interactive. It's awesome. So thank you so much, and thanks so much again, Dawn.
All right.
Great. Take care. Till next time.